Campground that we renovated was formerly known as the Overflow. Its new name is the Moody Bluff Campground. That is the geological name for the geological formation, the bluff that it sits on, overlooking Fort Patrick. That's how I chose that name. It consists now of 40 individual campsites. Paved lengths are 35 to 65 feet, which are enormous campsites, with a standard width of 20 feet of paving. There's a sewer connection at each site. There are pull-through sites as well. And these are classified as premium sites, so their projected revenue, their gross revenue will be the same as adjusted gross because it's a premium campsite, so we will not allow for discounts in that section. I do not have the revenue projection for that today because we just opened it last month, so I'm very, very proud. The biggest portion of the project was the tear down and rebuild of the marina facility. So we now have a new 6,000 square foot building, which includes a snack bar, retail space, meeting space, and public restrooms. In addition to that, we have the floating dock, which now includes 40 covered boat slips with courtesy power, and those are available for rent from private slip renters. We have 8 transient slips, so people that need to rent one for short term can rent those. And an all-new fuel system, very, very proud of it. One of the things I'm most proud of at that new facility is our new rental dock. It is completely accessible. There are ramps down to it. It's lower to the water, and we have paddle boats, kayaks, canoes, stand-up paddle boards, things like that for the public to come and rent. And part of that piece is a kayak launcher so that you can actually pull the kayak out of the water where it's more stable to get in and out of, and that will result in fewer injuries to my employees and less likelihood of my visitor being in the lake. So that's going to be good. We have also, as coincidentally with this project, have been able to completely repave all of the roadways and most of the parking lots in the park. That is part of a joint interagency agreement with TDOT and Tennessee State Parks, in which they maintain the roads and then we add money. Our major maintenance facilities coordinators add money to that contract in order to get the parking lots finished. And then also as well, we completed an $80,000 renovation of the Anderson Treehouse in Daryl's Green Boundless Playground. This is a carry forward project. When we do a good enough job, Green Boundless Playground, but they also work on they maintain all of the mountain bike trails. That's completely volunteer. They maintain all the disc golf trails, or all the disc golf facility. That's also completely volunteer. The Holston Rowing Club is getting ready to construct a launch dock for their rowing club activities. And they're also working on organizing a golf tournament. So if any of y'all would like to play golf on October 13th at the golf course, we would like to see you there. So I'm going to conclude with this. We have opened the marina now. It is a soft opening because, you know, we wanted to test it out, kick the tires, light the fires, make sure everything was going to work okay, and we're pretty much there. So next Friday, May 26th, at 3 o'clock, 3 to 6, is going to be a grand opening ceremony at the marina at Warriors Pass State Park. So our deputy commissioner is coming in, our director of operations is coming in, and we would certainly love to see any and all of y'all there. At this time, I will take any questions that you may have.
Well, Ms. Liddy, thank you for sharing with us, and I've always considered Warriors the crown jewel of the state park system, and you continue to prove that, and to have that here in Sullivan County is just quite a privilege for us, and we're happy to have you here. Do any commissioners, we have Commissioner Jones, you're recognized.
Sarah, would you say something about the certified 5K and 10K courses you have?
Yes, another division of the Friends Group, so just a little bit of background on the Friends Group. The way their board of directors is set up, each user group in the park has a seat on the board. So any sport or activity that happens there, they're invited to join the Friends Group and do that. And so as part of that, the State of Franklin Track Club has a seat on the board. They actually certify, through like track club organizations, certify race course distances, and we have a certified 5K route completely within the confines of the park. You do have to share the road, the park road a little bit in some places, but for the most part, I mean, but it's all inside, like off of Hemlock Road.
What's the fee to run a race there?
The fee to run races are set by the organizations that host the race. We are merely the facility. So if an organization wanted to host a race at the park, we would need to get a special event permit or whatnot. But there are a couple of limitations about expanding that. It's pretty well landlocked already. If we try to move any further toward the golf course, we're getting into habitat that contains federally threatened orchid species. And at the heart of what we do as an agency, is our mission is to protect and, unique natural, cultural, and historic resources. So we really don't want to develop into an area with protected habitats.
And I know from experience that is utilized quite a bit, but it's in an area of the park it's kind of hard to get to as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Have you thought of any other ways? And I guess that's kind of what you were touching on with the I guess the golf course and some of the protected areas, of making that more user friendly and maybe making it more aware to the public that you all have that.
So that is one of the things that in the wish list of what we want to do with the trailhead upgrade there is we would like to do like permeable paving, maybe put, we would have to make an infrastructure investment because there's no water utility out there right now, but I would like to have, a bathroom and, build that up there, maybe a pump track, something along those lines. As far as making a vehicular connection to the front of the park, I really don't see a way to do that in any affordable way.
Because it's on the other side of the lake, isn't it?
It is.
And that's I guess the big thing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Attorney Street, you have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will the pool be open this summer, and if not, do you think it'll ever be open?
There are no plans to reopen the swimming pool at Warriors Pass State Park or 7 other state parks throughout the state. Most of those pools that are being closed have really nice municipal facilities very close by, and it may not be fiscally responsible to try to renovate that pool when the aquatic centers are right down the road.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments for Ms. Lee? Seeing none, I want to thank you for coming up and updating us on Warriors. As I say, it's a crown jewel as far as I'm concerned, and I personally want to thank you for the encouragement to our members as we made changes at our county park. Observation now be very, very helpful and very encouraging, and we certainly appreciate that. So we'll look forward to cutting that ribbon on the marina. Be there.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for your time. If you ever need anything, give me a call.
Is registered and operating in the state of Tennessee, so I have issued a proclamation declaring May 18th, on May 18th, declaring May as Foster Care Awareness Month. I can't tell you how important it is that we have a good, manageable foster care program. We have 8,991 children in foster care now. And fortunately, we have parents who are willing to take on the responsibility. And this is a long-term volunteer program in Tennessee, and so I'm happy to declare the month of May Foster Care Awareness Month. Next is Ms. Miller here, Allison Miller. Ms. Miller, I'll meet you in the well if I may. If I have the privilege, I'd like to read this proclamation. Since you're all here, and I'll let you introduce yourself after I do so. Proclamation, Child Care Provider Appreciation Day. Whereas Child Care Aware of America and other organizations nationwide are recognizing cherished child care providers on this day. Whereas child care provides a safe, nurturing place for the enrichment and development of millions of children nationwide. It is a vital force in our economy. And whereas the pandemic illuminated how indispensable child care providers, I'm having trouble with the word child, are for the well-being and economic security of state's young children, families. Whereas child care programs, which are mostly small businesses, run and staffed predominantly by women, are still recovering from health and financial hardships stemming from the pandemic, while they have continued to meet the needs of families. And whereas Sullivan County, Tennessee recognizes that child care has been a lifeline for families, communities, and the economy as such, has provided much needed support to providers to help sustain the viability of child care. Whereas our future depends on the quality of the early childhood experiences provided to our young children today. Support for high-quality child care represents a worthy commitment to our children's future. Now, therefore, I, Richard Fennell, Mayor of Sullivan County, hereby proclaim May 18th, 2023 as Provider Appreciation Day in Sullivan County, Tennessee, and urge all of our citizens to recognize child care providers for their important work. Certainly glad to have you here, and appreciate the work you do. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and say a couple of words and introduce your guest.
I appreciate it so much. I'm Allison Miller. I am the regional manager for East and Northeast Tennessee Child Care Agencies. We serve 455 child and adult care agencies across Tennessee, up to Morgan County, Monroe County, and East Tennessee. So I know our providers will appreciate this so much. And I have with me today the Field Operations Director, Glenna Jones, and she is with the state of Tennessee as well.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Venable. Thank you, Sullivan County Commission, for recognizing our child care providers and the important work they do. And I have my daughter here with me because she was in early care. I've been a working mom all of her life, and so I know how vitally important it was to me and how vitally important it is to our families and to our communities. And so thank you for recognizing that.
Well, thank you. You're a very important part of our community. Thank you. Next up, we have the approval of commission minutes from the previous meeting. Those have been spread on your desk and are available electronically. We have a motion to adopt as published by Commissioner Crawford. We have a second by Commissioner Gardner, any additions, corrections? Seeing none, Commissioner Crawford renews his motion for adoption of the minutes as published. We'll put that in. We don't need to, we can do a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The minutes are adopted. Okay, next up is the approval of notary publics. Our clerk will read the name of notary public applicants. After you hear the list, if you have a objection, that will be the time to state it. So, Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
William C. Argerbright, Vicki Lynn Ballard, Tamara Michelle Blevins, Teresa A. Bright, Sarah Rose Brown, Frank A. Burnett, Kelly Campbell, Jamie D. Christian, Diane Elizabeth Clark, Loretta Compton, Stephen Gerald Cross, Donna Jean Dillard, Madeline Feathers, Patricia Feathers, Ashley Lynn Ferguson, Ashley Lynn Gascari, Sandra S. Giles, Melanie Lynn Gooch, Patricia D. Hathaway, Andrea Gail Hensley, Michaela E. Hickman, Margarita Hunsucker, Doris M. Johnson, Terry Keplinger, Raven Lodwick, Janice McCracken, Rachel Shannon Miller, Ashley Ann Kristen Norton, Rex Allen Pendergrass, Ashley Payton, Lindsay Russell, Carissa Sayanato, Holly L. Self, Victoria Small, Whitney Call Taylor, Angela M. Vaughn, Becky Jane Walsh, and Angela Hope Williams.
You've heard the list. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we have that on the board. Okay, working on it now. And I might mention that that approves the bonds also, Madam Clerk. Very good. Well, yeah, we ought to have an official record. We're throwing our help a curve on this one, so she does very good. Let's do a roll call and then we can back out of that. Madam Clerk, would you take the vote by roll call?
Aker,
Oh, okay, that's fine. The board is open, so cast your vote on the appointment of notary publics for the County of Sullivan. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Having received necessary majority, the list is approved as read. Next up on our agenda, we will recess for our public comment. Commissioner Cross and the Father Jackson, and I'm sorry, Andrew. Stephanie? Oh, okay, very good. I'll remember that next time. Thank you. A fairly new addition to the Cross family. So, Jackson arrived just about the time Andrew did. We will go in the order of signed up. Mayor Rolls, you're recognized. You will give us the
1901 draft of the aforementioned, and that the name of our entity be stricken immediately from such resolution 2023-04-11 present tense. Thanks to all concerned for your efforts and advance for your service. Thank you.
Without objection, Mayor, we will follow your request. Next up, we have Ms. Ramona Jackson. Ms. Jackson, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Venable and the county commissioners. And thank you to my team that is here with me tonight. We did have to leave some people back to work because that is important. I am Ramona Jackson. I'm the general manager of the Meadowview Marriott Conference Resort and Convention Center. While I work directly with the Marriott Corporation, I also have a dotted line of reporting relationship with two people that are in the room today. Meadowview is the largest hotel in Sullivan County and contributes a large amount to the hotel motel tax as well as state tax. Annually, Marriott collects, based on the total tax rate, 16.5%. I want to share that other cities and states, to include Florida, collect 12.5 to 16.5% in a total tax rate. While I recognize you as commissioners of Sullivan County have a fiduciary responsibility, I too have a responsibility as general manager of the hotel. The increase will hurt Meadowview. The increase will hurt our local businesses. And most importantly, the increase will hurt my employees. Our business is comprised of many segments that will be impacted, to include group, transient, association, religious sectors, amateur sports, just to name a few. Everyone in businesses sitting in this room has been forced to take increases based on inflationary cost. Cost to cover the cost of goods and services, as well as to keep up with the wage war that we've all created amongst ourselves just to share employees. This is not going to end. We have not recovered from the pandemic, as I am certain many in this room continue to feel the pressures of just to do business. I also recognize the many hardships our citizens are facing each day. Those citizens are my employees too. As the general manager, I would not be doing my job if I didn't advocate for the most competitive tax rate for the hotel and for the convention center. I ask that you not increase those taxes and take a moment amongst this brilliancy of county commissioners and think of other options that you can come up with to create a revenue stream for Sullivan County. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank all your colleagues for being here tonight. Okay, next on our Kaya Duggan. And I'm sorry, I probably butchered your first name. If you'll give us your name and address, I appreciate it.
Yes, good evening. My name is Kia Duggins, Kia like the car. Address 1601 Connecticut Avenue Northwest, number 800, Washington, D.C., 20009.
Thank you. Being new here, I will remind you that we normally give 3 minutes, but we're kind of liberal on that too. So
Okay.
if you need more to make your point, we let you make it.
Okay, thank you.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Kia Duggins, an attorney at Civil Rights Corps, or CRC, and in April, I sent legal and policy memos to county stakeholders. And CRC is a nonprofit organization that challenges systemic injustice in the criminal legal system nationwide. I am here because I believe that we have the shared values of ensuring that people remain innocent until proven guilty, reducing the jail's overcrowding, and investing the county's money into programs that support residents' wellness, safety, and productivity. Those shared values that we have. Many legally innocent people are in the Sullivan County Jail simply because they cannot afford a bail amount that was set by a judge, magistrate, or clerk. While these legally innocent people are in jail, they cannot contribute to their economy and their community by going to work or school, taking care of their families, and maintaining their housing. This practice of detaining people solely because they cannot afford bail not only contributes to jail overcrowding, it violates the Tennessee Annotated Code, the Tennessee Common Law, and the federal Constitution. The county can remedy its constitutional violations in 3 ways: automatically releasing more legally innocent people on their own recognizance, reinvesting money saved from releasing people into voluntary pretrial supports, such as court date reminders and transportation to court, and also holding constitutionally sound bail hearings for innocent people who are not released on their own recognizance pretrial. CRC wants to help the county to expand its capacity for supporting people who are released pretrial. I invite the commission to take action by encouraging judges to implement more automatic release measures, by investing in community-run pretrial supports, and by reinvesting its budget away from detaining people and into the bedrocks of community safety, such as housing, mental and physical health care, education, transportation, etc. CRC is eager to help the county remedy its constitutional violations. We can do that by helping you find grant funding for pretrial support programs, providing technical legal assistance, and generally helping to expand the county's capacity for supporting residents' wellness, safety, and productivity. I am available at KIAH, K-I-A-H, at civilrightscorps.org if you would like to talk further. Thank you.
Do you have a moment for
Thank you.
questions?
Am I allowed?
Joe, we don't
Okay.
question our guests. They're here to share their opinions with us, so thank you for visiting with us. We hope you can one from Northeast Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Brandon Rogers. Mr. Rogers, welcome. Give you 3 minutes, a little bit more if you need it.
Well, hopefully we'll get it done in 3 minutes. I'm here representing Rogers Gardens Campground, Bristol, Tennessee, 2800 Volunteer Parkway. I'm here specifically regarding the resolution 2023-0411, the hotel motel tax. This was proposed back in December 2020 by Commissioner Angie Stanley. I came to the meeting back then, had some very good conversations with our commissioners and our honorable mayor. Greetings to you, Mr. Venable, and commissioners. At the conclusion of that, it was conferred to us or communicated to us in writing and in communications that if this was ever to be adopted, temporary campgrounds such as my campground would be excluded. When I look at this current draft, it doesn't appear that it currently is, and it probably should be, and I'm going to tell you why. In theory, you would think a hotel might like it. I heard from the Marriott, apparently they've got some very valid points that they made. But in a very simple theory, you might like it. Say the customer comes in, he pays a little tax. You guys do tourism advertising to bring more people in. He sells more rooms, it's great. Problem is, in a temporary campground like ours, it's only open twice a year in conjunction with NASCAR races, the people aren't coming because of advertising that I do or general tourism for the area. They're coming because NASCAR released the schedule and here's the date. They're coming on that date because that's the date. Tourism ads like this really aren't going to increase the number of people who are going to be coming to our campground. I mean, they're following the race. The race isn't what it used to be. We're probably in the spring race about 50% occupancy, where we used to be really close to 100. It's the nature and the character of the economy, inflation, you know, the number of people that come to NASCAR races. We haven't raised our prices in our campground in over 10 years. The racetrack isn't raising their prices in this current economic situation, but this would be a 3% increase on our customers. I know better than to raise my prices right now, but if this passes, you're going to do it for me. Currently, if this passes, my customer will be paying $130 in taxes, my average customer. I have 200 campers who have already prepaid a deposit for their fall event. So I'm going to have to make like 200 collection calls to try to tell these people who thought they had paid in full, they owe another 23 bucks. I know I'll get $90 in fees that I get to retain if I turn it in on time, but it's gonna cost me a lot more to do that. It's gonna hurt my business. And it's gonna cost my customers a lot of ill will. There's always the constant risk and rumor of losing the spring race because of how it's doing. The fall race is doing good, but the spring race isn't. Probably would help if they wouldn't have it on Easter, but I know you gentlemen and ladies don't have anything to do with that. I'd hate for that to happen, especially if we, you know, if we're increasing the prices and cause fewer and fewer people to come. That 2.25% the county gets on all the economic impact from the race fans being in town, I'm sure is very beneficial to the budget. We're only open twice a year during the campground events. If we were open year-round, it might be a little different. I'm collecting money from other people who are staying with me in December and January and in the summer months, but we're only open.
Time and thought in bringing that forward, and we used some of our American Rescue Plan money to do that because that was one of the qualifiers to use that money. All of you, most all of you, are involved in a business in some capacity or another. We all know that our best business practices are to develop the strategic plan, see who the stakeholders are first, put it all together, and then to move forward in developing the appropriate revenue stream. A tourism commission such as described would then provide recommendation of such a strategic plan to the county finance committee as to how the acquired revenues would be distributed based on a percentage formula collected to be considered and approved by the Sullivan County Commission, your body. I would ask that we slow the roll a little bit on this. If it's imperative to take the 4% from the rural county, that would be what you would do. But I think that it's too important to not have a very well-defined plan to take this forward. Who's going to receive these revenues? Is it going to destination marketing organizations? How do our different vendors, our hotels, our campsite property owners, how do they feel about this? And what could be included in the language that could include or exclude some of the issues that you've heard tonight? It's not a best practice to say, oh, we'll pass it. These are going to be all of the participants, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with it. They did that in our National Congress not too long ago. They told us we pass it, then they read it and figure it out. I would encourage you to be more conservative than that, to put together a serious plan on a serious issue. Tourism is our second largest industry in the state of Tennessee. It deserves the time and attention and collaboration for us to truly do this right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, Alicia Phelps. Ms. Phelps?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Alicia Phelps, 3211 North Brown Street, Johnson City is my address. I'm with Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association, and I too am here with a few comments on the hotel motel tax. I'm primarily here to present a few updated numbers when it comes to the local impact of tourism in the community. There is absolutely no doubt that the tourism and hospitality industry in Northeast Tennessee has grown exponentially, including supporting the sustainability and recovery efforts during the pandemic. I think we all remember how restaurants shifted and folks were encouraged to visit urban and rural areas over large metropolitan cities. And because of that, we've seen a major increase locally in visitor spending. Northeast Tennessee and Sullivan County have become quite competitive in markets where other tourism programs have significantly higher marketing budgets and development projects to work with. Why? Because our product, our location, and because of long-term investments and trust in our tourism departments. For the numbers, Tennessee Tourism just announced another record year in 2022, just last year, with $27.5 billion spent by visitors. While we'll get Sullivan County numbers, we're all anxiously awaiting by August. Hopefully that is a really big indicator of what we're going to see coming locally here as an increase as well. Northeast Tennessee's figures include $773 million, with $304 of that, almost half, right here in Sullivan County. alone. So you went from number 11 to number 10 in the state, so that's pretty good. Pat on the back there. Based on last year's lodging tax collections, one could predict that anywhere between $700,000 to $1 million could be collected in Sullivan County at large. My latest figures, which were prior to the pandemic, for this particular stat, include that for every $1 investment in tourism marketing, a return of $19 is garnered. An investment in tourism and hospitality is a proven factor when it comes to generating tax dollars. We really hope that a suitable agreement in which all parties represented fairly can be achieved tonight, and so that discussions can continue so that we can put those dollars to work and keep producing a return for each of you. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes our list, so I will declare the public hearing concluded. Pass the list on to our clerk. And as is appropriate, I have a commissioner who would like to address the commission. We don't need to do that under public hearing. A commissioner may address the commission at any time he chooses by seeking permission of the chair. And as you know, I have never denied anybody permission of the chair. So at this time, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Herschel Glover at your desk. Herschel, you're in the well. We'll recognize you in the well. That's great.
Thank you.
You need two, Andrew. I need one. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank the commission for giving me this opportunity to speak to you publicly tonight. What I'd like to go over with you is some numbers handed out to you. But first of all, I'd like to say, each time a county commissioner walks up the steps and comes in this room, we're on the agenda. People are watching what we do, how we handle ourselves, and how we conduct business. And each time we come in here, and over the years since I've been here, it seems like the expectations for us are higher. And in years past, mayor, finance director, the commission, we've all took the blunt of some direct hits that we're not doing our job. But I'm here tonight to prove to some folks that we are doing our job. And we are doing it and approaching it in the right direction. In the years past, we've got the blame for not funding departments, especially the school department. And the information that I handed out to you tonight is going to show that we have been doing just the opposite. We have been funding, and we've been funding correctly, and we've been going above and beyond the call of duty to prove that. For an example, 3 years ago, we got the blame for shortfall, saying that we did not fund properly, and there wasn't going to be no school buses run. I had to shut the lunchrooms down, and that happened. Then last year, we got the blame for might not have no electricity for the children to play ball. Might have to cut the electricity, you know, we'll have to cut the lights off, maybe cut the water off, and not, let the children play ball. That's absolutely false. And this year, it's no different. And that's what causes friction between the county commission and the school department. A couple of months ago, we voted unanimous on a resolution to support the school department and the things that they asked for. We've got a new director coming in next month, working on the budget right now, and I felt like this was the best time to bring this forward and talk about it and get it out in the open. And I guess the most important thing to me is when we're out in public and the people we represent come up to us and say, hey, you didn't fund that, you didn't do that. Well, with these numbers and things that we've got here, I think you'll see that we have funding, we have done what we were required to do above and beyond. And again, this year it's the same thing. And I'll admit, over the years, I took a lot of shots, but I also gave some shots out. I'll admit that. I'll be the first to tell you that. And if it happens again, and I hope this puts it to bed. I hope this puts it to bed for all concerns. This year, it's the same thing again. We're not funding. We're taking money. The way the funding was changed from doing property tax to sales tax, the way it was handled, we're still getting the same amount of money. It just comes from a different hand. And by law, we have to continue to do that under maintenance of effort. That's something else that we need to address, is the maintenance of effort. In the years coming, with the maintenance of effort, it's going to affect our cities. Our county student population is dropping, our cities are maintaining or growing. We need to get with our state representatives and our senator, get a bill passed down there where this will be revisited every 2 years and get this under control. But the numbers I want to go over with you, if you look at the handout that I gave you, the draft version, this was June 30th of 2022. And if you look at the first account number, 1418711001016, teachers. 28,846,200 was appropriated for the teachers. If you scroll over to the right, you'll see activity. There was 2,202,881. If you go over to the right, you'll see the activity there of 26,383,083. In 2022, at the end of June, they had $2,460,117 left. That's a lot of money. If you scroll down to the next line on teachers, under a different account number, $3,275,000. If you scroll over to the right, you'll see available funds. They had $468,325 left out of that account. And it goes on and on all the way down the paper. And if you scroll down to the third line, it says custodial personnel, $2,677,500. If you scroll over to the right, out of that $2,677,000, they had $465,574 left. That's a lot of money. And I'm not going to go all the way down line item by line item, but if you go all the way down to where it says, for instance, other equipment. I don't know how you define other equipment, but it says other equipment, $153,000. They spent $8,561, had a total left of $144,389. Now, if you turn over to the back page and you look at the very bottom, they had $9,815,351 left. Now, when they say that they had to take money to balance their budget, why do you have to take money and balance your budget when you've got $9,800,000 left, which just rolls around and goes into a fund account? And that's how the fund balances grow. Now, if we weren't funding the department, if we weren't doing what we were supposed to do, this $9 million is going to be there. Where would it come from? We've been doing this every single year. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 1.4 million, next year 1.2, and last year 1.1. Now the mayor and Mr. Bailey several times got thrown under the bus, just like the commission, that we didn't fund. Well, last year, on the $1.1 million, Mr. Bailey and the mayor, we're going to give that to the school department. There's no questions asked. With what these children and what these teachers have been through COVID, there's no way we're going to touch that money. And that 1.1 million went into the school department last year. That was above and beyond what the maintenance of effort and what was required to do. And that's happened every year that I've been here. So tonight, we need to put this to bed. We need to move forward. We've got a new director coming in, and let's do some communication. And let's work together, and let's stop this. It's not the county commission's fault. You've got maintenance personnel and support staff over there right now, some of them making $11, $12 an hour. They got problems feeding their families and buying for their children. And here you got almost $600,000 left over in two accounts that's got to do with maintenance and custodial, and you can't step forward and give it to the people that it's aligned for. One of those workers over told me if that something wasn't done, he was going to have to go on food stamps for his children. We're better than that. We're better than that. And we have been better than that. We have been. But no more the county commission, no more the mayor, no more Larry Bailey getting blamed for this stuff. We've worked too hard, and we're going to continue to work too hard. And I'm going to give you an example. Tonight, resolution laying on our desk, $300-some-thousand for an ambulance. That's something we should have been doing all along. But it's hard to do things like that when you've got departments that's got $9 million left over in a year, and they've got $31 million in their account balance right now. Now, I know there's time left. They're going to spend some of that money. But still yet, $31 million is a lot of money. $9 million left over in the budget each year and rolled in or more is a lot of money. I'm sorry. Every single person sitting in these chairs support and love children. And we have showed that since we've been here. And we will continue to show that. Because they are vital for Sullivan County. They're our future. They're the ones that's going to be pushing the buttons on us later on. But this is just unacceptable. We've got to take pride in our other departments. And one thing I want to point out is Ms. Jacobs. Last month, she came up with an ideal, probably one of the best ideals that's been put forward in the county in a long time. The piece of equipment that she put up at Food City. Making it more convenient, making it more easily for people of the county to get their tags. Some of those need to be all over the county. How are we going to afford that if we keep doing things like this? And something else, the resolution went on our desk tonight about the ambulance. That's no question. We can do this, but everybody's got to give. And we need to quit playing the blame game. I know for a fact that some of those guys over there right now are so scared, they're afraid to even look sideways. Because they've been cut back, it was cut back to part-time before, and it could happen again. So that's going to stop. But I'm willing. I don't know if Mr. Carter's here tonight. I haven't seen him, but I'm going to promise him something. I'm going to work hard to help him in any way that I can, and I know the rest of y'all will too. I know you will, because we care. We got kids, we got grandkids around. But it's hard to keep other departments going if we keep taking this kind of money and putting it somewhere where it's going to lay there for somebody else to, to decide. I mean, we're county commissioners. We represent the whole county, everybody. And those ambulances, what would we do right now? Now picture this. What would we do right now? We're having to borrow an ambulance from Washington County sometimes. Now what would we do if a parent called 911, had a kid that was hurt, and one of our trucks was broke down? Well, ma'am, I'm sorry. As soon as we get that alternator put on this ambulance, we'll come get your kid. No more. No more. these departments that's got fund balances, and got quite a bit of fund balances, let's talk the next few weeks. Let's pull some of that money out of those fund balances and buy 2 more or 3 more ambulances and put them where they need to be. We don't have to do a tax increase. We got it landed. If we work together, we can do it. We can do it. So I'm going to put this to bed tonight, and I hope the school department puts this to bed tonight. No more blame game. The numbers prove what we've done. It's in black and white. And let's move forward and approach it in a direction of being very positive. We've got some major challenges ahead of us in the next little bit. I think we can work through those. But I'm not going to get blamed anymore for something that we're doing, and we've been doing it very, very well, in my opinion. And I appreciate y'all's time. I know I went over the 3 minutes, but I think this is something that's going to help us in the future, on down the road, with other things that we're dealing with in here. Because
Commissioner, we'll never limit you to 3 minutes.
Mayor, thank you. I appreciate your patience with me and everybody else do. I do. But let's get the ambulances and let's get stuff going. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the effort. Okay, next up, consent agenda. Thanks to Chairman Gardner. The consent agenda is full. Do we have a motion by the Chairman for approval of consent agenda by Chairman Aker to second it? Anyone want to bump anything off resolutions 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8? If you wish to bump one, we'll take it off and vote on it separately.
Item number 4.
You want to bump item number 4 off? Okay. Please remove item number 4, and we will recognize the sponsors in order. So, number 4 is off. Any further? We have a motion to adopt as amended. When the board opens, cast your vote on the motion to pass the consent agenda. Board is open, please cast your vote.
Did we bump 4 off? Yes.
We did bump 4 off, and I'm going to give Commissioner Hayes an opportunity to present it to the commission. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
22 yes, 2 absent.
Consent agenda as amended is passed. Commissioner Hayes will call that up in the order that it comes. Next up on our agenda are resolutions. And as most of you know, prior to 4 being added on, we have resolution number 2 up first. Mr. Vanover, you're recognized on resolution number 2.
Before I speak, Mayor, there's a couple of people I'd like to ask to talk, and out of respect for the time, I'd like to go ahead and let City Manager Chris McCart say a few things.
We'd be happy to recess to recognize our good friend from Kingsport, City Manager Chris McCart. Chris, it's good to have you with us tonight.
Mayor, thank you. Commissioners, thank you. Appreciate your service to our county. A lot of conversation has taken place over the last several weeks regarding this resolution. We've heard from a lot of folks here tonight regarding that. As the City of Kingsport and as the City Manager for Kingsport, I kind of wear 2 hats tonight. I'm representative of Meadowview and representing the owner of the convention center. I also represent the City of Kingsport. Anytime you look at any kind of tax, regardless of what it might be, you have to recognize the implications that it may have not only on our citizens, but also in this situation, our visitors as well. We've had a lot of conversations about this. We've looked at this, and I appreciate the amount of time that Commissioner Vanover has given us to look at this. If you're going to do this, we ask that no more than 1% be placed on Kingsport. In addition to that, I also ask that you look at something that we did as a city several years ago. When we went from 5% to 7%, we took that 2% and we pushed it back into projects that support tourism. That has been valuable, so valuable for the city of Kingsport and what we've been able to do. We completely rebuilt the planetarium. We added the Lazy River Aquatic Center. We put wayfinding signs out. We've helped friends at Devlin Inn and the Exchange Place by putting tourism dollars back into them to help them do common maintenance as well as add additional amenities. That's what is necessary in order to continue driving people into our city. And so if you look at this tonight and you make the decision to vote as it is presented, hope you will consider that. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Commissioner Vanover, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. McCart. Thank you for being here. Frank, thank you for being here. I'd like to next ask Matthew Johnson, our tourism director, to come up and say a few things.
Mr. Johnson, you're recognized.
Mayor, Madam Clerk, County Commissioners, thank you. I will be brief. I am Matthew Johnson. I am your Tourism, Archives and Tourism Director. And just wanted to say a few words this evening. But this governing body of county commissioners is certainly well aware of its abilities and responsibilities and serves all of our citizens with distinction. Very proud to know that each one of you are looking out for all of the interests of all individuals that you represent. And I want to say thank you. I won't belabor you, but I do want to emphasize my feelings toward this resolution and emphasize that this resolution that you're considering will be impactful for not only my department, but also other leaders in tourism within our county. Furthermore, it is my opinion that when considering tourism as a whole, it is really a piece of economic development. This resolution will not only provide a source of revenue for all of Sullivan County, but it will serve as an economic driver throughout. As you heard from the head of Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association, an organization of which Sullivan County is a member and partner, that Sullivan County ranks 10th in visitor spending out of 95 counties. That is a testament to the hard work of all the professionals and organizations throughout our county. We have premier lodging, fantastically centrally located airport, providing transportation, outdoor recreation. We're a mecca and a heaven for that. Natural beauty, and all the events that each of the organizations put on throughout the year. All of the draws are part of the collection of the crown jewels of Tennessee, and we are right there in the mix. Based on the recent numbers, average tourism dollars attracted and spent in Sullivan County has resulted in households paying nearly $400 less annually if the tourism dollars than if they were not spent here. The revenue would be utilized by my department and others. Should this happen, it is the tide that I believe would raise all ships. Everyone in this industry can win. I respect all of my colleagues within the industry and would certainly and will continue to work with them. I am in support of this resolution. I would appreciate your consideration. This is a positive impact, in my opinion, that could be felt across the entire county. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Mr. Banner.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Before I read the resolution, I'd like to respond to some of the comments from earlier. First of all, Ms. Jackson had some great points. I mean, it's the job of businesses to advocate for their business, and that was some great points you made. But, you know, as a county commission, we've got clients too. We've got people we need to advocate for, and it's called the taxpayers. If you go to every house in this county and knock on the door and ask those residents, would you prefer to pay a increased sales and property tax, or would you prefer an occupancy tax that you don't even pay? Well, I bet you my farm which one they would answer to. So some people may think they're representing their district, but you're just representing a few choice people, I think, who have the loudest voice But if you go down in your district and knock on doors, I think you'll find out how the people really feel about this. And like I said, those are our clients, and those are the people we need to be thinking about every day when we look for new streams of revenue to try to keep property taxes as low as possible. And it's easy to take the easy path and just keep raising property taxes, but I hope we can look at other paths, be proactive, and do some things like this to try to ease those burdens on the same people who get burdened over and over and over again. So, Ms. Jackson, thank you for your comments, but like I said, you've got clients, we've got clients also, and they're the taxpayers. And Mr. Rogers, about the exempting temporary campgrounds, I asked our county clerk about that when we first started this process, and she said there was no distinction in the county between temporary and full-time campgrounds. So there's no way to exempt a temporary campground. I thought of that earlier. If we want to exempt all campgrounds in the future, that's something we can certainly look at, but not tonight. We got other business tonight. So down the road, that would be a possibility to look at if that's the choice of this commission. So this resolution can be amended at a later date if we wanted to look at exempting campgrounds, which I certainly wouldn't be opposed to. But now we just got to vote yes or no whether to pass this resolution or not. So I'll move on with the resolution if that's acceptable. It's a resolution number 2023-04-11. Item 2, it's a resolution pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated 67-4-1401 and others to levy a county hotel motel tax of 4% in non-incorporated Sullivan County within Bluff City also, and levy a county hotel motel tax of 1% in the portions of Johnson City within the county, and to levy a county hotel motel tax of 3% within the city of Bristol, Tennessee, and to levy a county hotel motel tax of 1% within the city of Kingsport, all proceeds to be used for the promotion of tourism development as defined by law. And the last thing I want to say is there's been a lot of discussion about this for several months during our work sessions. And I've yet to hear anyone say this is bad for Sullivan County. In fact, everyone I've heard, all the comments I've heard from this commission is, yeah, this is good for Sullivan County. And if we're Sullivan County commissioners and we can't vote for what's good for Sullivan County, then I think we need to take a hard look at ourselves and just ask, why are we here? We're not Kingsport commissioners, we're not Bristol commissioners, we're not Bluff City commissioners, we're Sullivan County commissioners. We need to vote for what is best for Sullivan County. Please never let that leave your mind when you vote for this resolution or anything else. So, with that, I'm ready to vote.
Commissioner Vanover moves for introduction of item number 2 and passage, seconded by Commissioner Iverson and others. Any discussion? Got 2 on the board. Mr. Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to begin by thanking Commissioner Vanover for the excellent work that he has done in sponsoring this resolution, and to the Sullivan County Commission for the diligence that they have shown in working to identify another revenue source for the county to consider, which will not create an additional tax directly on the backs of our citizens. Although the projections for this revenue are only estimates at this point, there seems to be considerable confidence that the 1% increase in tax on the related Kingsport City businesses, 3% increase in tax on related Bristol City businesses, and the new 4% tax on related Sullivan County and Bluff City businesses will likely bring in a budget of at least $1 million. Given that the cities of Kingsport and Bristol have the greatest number of rooms and the highest cost of rooms being taxed, I believe it is reasonable, and more importantly, it demonstrates good faith by Sullivan County in this collaborative effort to guarantee that a fixed amount of the funds generated from these new taxes be allocated annually to the city tourism departments for both Kingsport and Bristol to fund their tourism efforts. To ensure clarity and equity, I strongly recommend that an amendment be included in this resolution to specify in writing a specific dollar amount that each of the 4 tourism departments be provided annually to fund their budgets. I propose that approximately 1/3 of the $1 million estimated revenue, in this case approximately $330,000, be used to fund the 4 tourism budgets, Kingsport, Bristol, Bluff City, and Sullivan County, while the remaining 2/3 of the revenue, approximately $660,000 in this case, be allocated as outlined in the resolution, with recommendations coming from the Budget Committee following an established process and via resolution to the full County Commission for approval. I cannot overemphasize the importance of putting in writing the allocation of funding for all of the contributing entities in this agreement, as verbal and promissory agreements are often forgotten, frequently misquoted, and frankly unreliable. As elected officials, we also understand that many people who have impacted significant decisions in the past may no longer be available to explain those decisions. These communication gaps often cause confusion and frustration. So let's make sure that we don't leave any communication gaps around this new funding. Finally, I hope that by offering this assurance of funding for the respective tourism budgets that are associated with the affected cities and county governments involved, we will demonstrate a spirit of unity and cooperation and working together to bring folks from around the world to live, work, and play in our beautiful Sullivan County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vano.
First of all, we don't need to have any money yet, so I think it would not behoove us to make any promises to this time, except that it'll be distributed fairly is the only promise I can make. But second of all, I just don't want to tie anyone's hands in the future, and I just don't think it would be wise to accept that amendment, so respectfully, no.
Let me clarify where I think we are and make sure from the sponsor. Commissioner Harvey, are you proposing an amendment to Commissioner Vanover's
Yes.
resolution? Do you have that in writing?
Yes, sir.
Would you please file that with the clerk at the proper time, if you've got it? So we have amendment number 1 to item number 2 as amended. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Slagle. Okay, we're discussion on amendment number 1 to amended item number 2. Mr. Crawford, you wanted to speak on the original, so we'll do the amendment. We'll do the amendment, come back to you, okay? Okay. Okay, we have Commissioner McMurray on the amendment. We're gonna have to drop somebody off the board here. I'll drop you off later and put you on later. Commissioner McMurray, you're recognized.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey, I just wanted to be clear, was your proposal or this amendment, was it a specific dollar amount or a specific percentage? Percentage of all the income that we...
Percentage.
And what was that percentage?
It would be roughly 1/3 of the estimated what is brought in.
And that 1/3 would be divided amongst
The 4 tourism
okay. And
entities.
how will it be divided, or is it?
Well, I think that would have to be determined. I don't have that very specific, but.
Okay, on the amendment, if we have anybody who wants to be recognized on the amendment. Now, Madam Clerk, can we get the amendment on the board? I'm sorry, Commissioner Iverson. I looked at the board and it's empty, but you're recognized.
I guess my question would be is it can't be it can't be a general, it has to be an exact number before we can vote on anything. So an amendment that says roughly 1/3 between 4 people, it has to be more specific than that. I mean, so for her amendment to even be heard, I think that we need to know exactly where this money is going to be gone, because we can't roughly do anything and then later on be held to anything. So I would like for that to be more specific before we can actually, I think it needs to be done that way before we even vote.
Commissioners, did you have a reply for that, Commissioner Harvey? If you don't need to answer, you just made a statement. Commissioner Slagle, you're recognized.
Yeah, I would just rebut with the saying, you have no idea what you're gonna do with the money you're gonna gather, nor how much you're gonna get. So, and I think her request is the same as a percentage. So there's no plan that exists currently to get money that's gathered from this tax. And it can't be, spending it as an offset to property tax is inaccurate. And so it shouldn't be spun that way. So it's a pickup for tourism, but it's no different, her amendment's no different than your request to just blindly accept it and have no plan.
Commissioner McMurray, let's keep it down so everybody here. Commissioner McMurray, you're recognized.
Commissioner Harvey, would you consider possibly this 1/3? Could it be divided proportionally? Like, let's say if Kingsport brings in more money, it could be divided proportionally, Bristol and Bluff City. Would you consider that with your amendment?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to amend amendment number 1, and we need to make sure the clerk has that. Do we have a second? I'm sorry to Commissioner McMurray's amendment. Commissioner Carr, second. Okay, can we make, do you have the amendment, Madam Clerk? Okay, if you've got that written, would you go ahead and share it with her, sure? Okay, now the amendment to amendment number 1 that is suggested by Commissioner McMurray and seconded by Commissioner Carr. I know these things are done on the fly, but okay, we're on amendment number 1 to amendment number 1 to item number 2 as amended. Everybody get that? Discussion on Commissioner McMurray's amendment. Okay, we're going to try to catch up the board. We're going to do all these on the board. So we're going to catch it up, and it says amendment number 1 to amendment number 1 to item number 2. I think that's right. I'll rely on county attorney to correct me if I'm wrong. Clerk had suggested it does take some time for us to get it in the system and get it described properly. So is everybody clear on what Commissioner McMurray's amendment is? Anybody have any questions? If not, we're going to, Commissioner Means.
Mayor, okay, so I just wanted to clarify.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify. So, of what is collected, it would be 1/3 of what is the total amount collected, proportionally percent of that as to where the tax is coming from. That's where it's going back to. Is that correct? The third would go into those tourism budgets, specifically into their tourism budgets for Bristol, Kingsport, the 4, Sullivan County, Bluff City. Okay, so that's what I'm asking, what for specifically? Netta? Explore Bristol. And visit Explore, and where else? Johnson City. Bluff City? No. No to Bluff City.
Okay, you get your answer, Commissioner. Commissioner Vanover, you're recognized. On the amendment.
I really think those are all good discussions, but I think those are discussions for a later date. Tonight, we just need to see if this is something we want to pass. We've got plenty of time to work out the details. We won't have any money collected for a year. So we've got plenty of time to work out the details. I really feel like this would be giving county money to the cities instead of just putting it where it needs to be. So these are good discussions. I hope we can give money to all of those entities that you mentioned, Joe. Those are good. Those are good. Those are the professionals, and that's where the money should go, and that's where the money will go. But as of tonight, that's not the discussion for the night. Tonight we need to vote yes or no. We'll work that out.
Okay, anybody
Can
else?
we call for the
on
question and vote?
If we have no further discussion on the Commissioner McMurray's amendment, properly seconded by Commissioner Carr. Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Baker?
No. This is on the minute.
This is on the Commissioner McMurray's amendment to apply things proportionally. And if you don't know what it said, what it is, please ask now. We've already started voting.
It's on the minute.
It's on Commissioner McMurray's amendment. Okay, everybody good? Don't want to come back? Okay. Madam Clerk, continue the vote.
Calton? Carr?
Yes.
Cole? Crawford?
Yes.
Cross?
No.
Crosswhite? No. Gardner?
No.
Glover?
No.
Harvey? Hayes?
No.
Horn? Absent. Ireson?
No.
Jones?
No.
King?
No.
Leonard?
No.
Locke?
No.
McMurray?
Yes.
Means?
No.
Pierce?
No.
Slagle?
Yes.
Stidham?
No.
Vanover?
No.
And Ward?
No.
Would anyone like to change their vote? $18 no, 5 yes, 1 absent.
I received 18 votes in the negative. Amendment number 1 is rejected. We're back on amendment number 1 to item number 2 as amended. This is Commissioner Harvey's amendment. We're back on that. Any discussion on that? Any further discussion on Commissioner Harvey's amendment? Seeing none, Commissioner Harvey renews her motion. So we're voting on amendment number 1 to item number 2 as amended. Madam Clerk, you ready to do a roll call on that? So take the vote.
Akers,
No.
Calton,
No.
Carr,
Yes.
Cole, Crawford,
Yes.
Cross,
No.
Crosswhite,
No.
Gardner,
No.
Glover,
No.
Harvey, Hayes,
No.
Horn, absent. Iverson,
No.
Jones,
No.
King,
No.
Leonard,
No.
Flock,
No.
McMurray,
Yes.
Means, Pierce,
No.
Slagle,
Yes.
Stidham,
No.
Vanover,
No.
Ward.
No.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 18 no, 5 yes, 1 absent.
Having received 18 votes in the negative, item amendment number 1 is rejected. We're back on item number 2 as amended. Commissioner Vanover, Commissioner Locke, you wish to be recognized. Commissioner Locke.
Call for question on item number 2.
I believe we're ready to vote. Anybody objection to the question? Yeah, have an objection to the question?
Well, I know that Commissioner Crawford was actually in line to speak before we had the.
He was.
I didn't know.
Of course, we've got a call for the question, so we want to vote on the question. Call for the question.
I withdraw my objection.
I'm sorry?
I withdraw my objection.
Okay. Is there objection to the question? None. Commissioner McMurray withdraws his objection, so I believe we do have this on the board. Commissioner Vanover renews his motion for passage on second and final reading. Seconded by Commissioner Iverson. When the board opens, cast your vote on item number 2. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
17 yes, 6 no, 1 absent.
Having received the necessary majority, item number 2 is adopted. It is 15 minutes delayed. We've got Commissioner Hayes. If you object to a recess, that's fine. Okay. I was going to let these folks leave, but we'll give them time to get out. Okay, let's move on. Commissioner Hayes, you're recognized on item number 4. I'm sorry, David, I'm catching up here.
I won't read it all. I did last week, and we put it on the consent agenda without objection, but ultimately on May 5th, the state recognized Juneteenth as official holiday. I'd like the county to do the same to keep us in line and for the calendar, the match state calendar.
Commissioner Hayes moves immediate introduction and adoption of item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Calton. Commissioner Carr, you're recognized.
I just think Juneteenth is a woke holiday and we shouldn't give these people an inch. This is the same sort of thing. I mean, no one in Sullivan County is in favor of this, almost nobody. The only people this is going to please is the same people that were in Nashville, in our capital, causing an insurrection and assaulting state troopers. So I'm voting no on this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Gardner, you're recognized.
I'd like to ask all members voting in the affirmative be added as a co-sponsor.
Without objection. This is not fun and games, folks. Without objection, all those voting in the affirmative will be shown as co-sponsor. Commissioner Hayes, you renew your motion? Yep. Commissioner Hayes renews his motion, seconded by Commissioner Calton. Any further discussion? Seeing none, when the board open, cast your vote on item number 4. Everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
17 yes, 4 no, 3 absent.
Have received the necessary majority, item number 4 is adopted. And I hardly ever make comments from the chair, but this is not fun and games. We hope to have fun doing it. We hope everybody enjoys it, but I'm not going to put up with hilarity in this courtroom. I'll ask for you to be removed. Moving on. Item number 9. No, I'm sorry. I believe we have one before item number 9. Okay, item number 9. Mr. David Akers, you're recognized on item number 9.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to read this, try quickly, and everything. Resolution to amend the Sullivan County General Fund for the 2023 fiscal year for the purchase of a new ambulance for the county EMS not to exceed $315,000. Whereas Sullivan County EMS is a vital service in maintaining the health of our community as well as that of our visitors to the county, and whereas Sullivan County's fleet of ambulances has 6 ambulances with over 250,000 miles, and another 5 have over 200,000. And whereas 5 ambulances are on order currently with ARPA funds and have been for over a year and will not be delivered for an unknown number of months into the next fiscal year. And whereas another vendor has a demo ambulance available in August of this year, and whereas a new ambulance ordered today could be more than a year before delivery, which makes the demo very encouraging to help assure a dependable fleet. Now therefore it be resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Sullivan County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session hereby amends the 2023 fiscal year budget by $315,000 for the purchasing agent to acquire a new or almost new ambulance. And this came up very late yesterday. There's a reason why first reading tonight and before June 30th for the fiscal year is why I asked for this real quickly. And as Commissioner Glover kind of did a good job back at the well talking about all this, we were already discussing coming up, even though we already have 5 ambulances on order with ARPA funds. The handout that John Osborne just handed shows you the list of all the ambulances. And we were going to be working on a rotation, kind of like what we did with the fire departments last year on their engines and everything, and come up with a plan for the next few years. And as you all know, these are very specific models, and you just don't go and buy one off the lot. But one of the vendors who we do business with that did not win the award for the other 5 called us because they knew we were in the market for one, and the opportunity is not 100%, so that's why it's on first reading, and then between work session and next meeting in June, we should have a little more information and everything on that. So, thank you.
Having heard the explanation, Commissioner Akers moves immediate introduction and adoption of item number 9, seconded by Calton, King, Crosswhite, Jones, Stidham, Gardner, and Leonard. I assume the late filing was a request for road waivers, not. Request. Commissioner Cross.
Can you add all those in the affirmative as co-sponsors?
Without objection, David, do you Without objection, Commissioner Akers moves to waive the rule for immediate introduction and adoption of item number 9. Board's open for discussion. Seeing none, do we have that, do I have that on board? We do not have it on the board. We will do a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, take the vote. Requires 16 votes for passage tonight.
Akers? Calton? Carr?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Crosswhite? Gardner?
Yes.
Glover?
Yes.
Harvey? Hayes?
Yes.
Horn, absent. Iverson?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Leonard?
Yes.
Locke?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Means?
Yes.
Pierce?
Yes.
Slagle?
Yes.
Stidham?
Yes.
Vanover?
Yes.
Ward? Would anyone like to change their vote? 23 yes, 1 absent.
Having received necessary majority, item number 9 is adopted. That completes our resolution agenda. Tonight, if I may, I will take upon personal privilege here before we adjourn. I want to congratulate the commission. You all work hard. It's not always appreciated in the press or in the media. And I know you spend countless hours on this and you try to make things better. And because somebody files an amendment or you don't agree with them, that's not personal. We never take it personal. Try not to. I admire each one of you for what you're doing because I know that phone rings a lot and I know there's pressure on you from various angles. And all the information you can share with your colleagues, please do that. And if you have information to share, and Commissioner Glover has to be recognized tonight, I'm thinking about having the commissioner's time. If the commissioner wants to address this commission on a particular issue, we should give them that opportunity. No matter what it is, if it's something that, because you're an elected representative of the people of Sullivan County. So I want to thank you for the hard work you do, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. We're adjourned.
Sure, she gets a chance to take a picture of what we gave her tonight and send me a Yeah, I don't know what it was looking for. Yeah, maybe it must have been a year-end type report. She said something about June, which two payrolls in June. Yeah, that's big bucks. Start looking down the road. How many left?
Huh?
How many left?
9.
Gets 1,000. When you gonna be there?
991.
When you gonna be there?
Huh?
When you gonna get it?
Probably in July. I've ran the last 4 Saturdays. I've run this Saturday, but the only thing is a half marathon in Elizabeth.
I'm up to 3 a day. Lost 22 pounds.
Huh?
Lost 22 pounds. Lost 22.
Yeah, I can see you, brother.
Nobody thought long term.
Okay, you go home and blame your wife. I'm still sick. I'm still coughing. I'm still coughing. Because I'm blaming her that I got it from her.
Well, I've had it for a long time too. I must be out there.
Okay, well, just
I think it's just like I
He probably, evidently, he's gone.
He probably was.
I can see his face, but I can't think what his name was. And I don't remember what he taught. But I do
Because
remember.
most of the ones that left when after we went to middle school went on to the high school.
Yeah, I don't think he did that. I know he went to Florida, but I'm not sure if that's when I do know one thing he did, because remember Daddy told me. I might have told you this, I think he did. They're trying to catch people smoking going around the corner of the gym, and they couldn't catch him. And he went over and sat in the parking lot of Song County News with binoculars and called him out. You know, like I said, like we were talking about Mr. Garner, there was nobody that was more organized.
I didn't even know this all the ground. That's true. You just never knew when you were walking down the hall whether it was briefly or you just had to understand who you were dealing with.
Yeah.
I got a copy. Okay. I gotta make a couple phone calls.
That's good to see you.
Good to see
I can't think what it was. I do remember this about Sherman Harrison. He had seems like it was, I don't know if it was when, I don't think it was when somebody left. I think it was when somebody, they left, but then they re-enrolled or something. I can't think what it was. But he would make he would use a red pen, and he had an initial for whatever that move was. So if you saw that, I never have forgot that, but I can't think exactly what it was. It's when he was assistant principal.
Yeah, when I first year there, Sherman was there as assistant principal when it was still junior high. And one kid I took down there, this kid was well laid in. He punched the girl on the back of the head. I took him down there and Sherman was in a foul mood. And when I brought him in the door, I told him what he's doing. Sherman grabbed him by the shoulder. Threw him up against that wall. Threw him up against that wall. Threw him out and I said, back in those days, in those early times, you could probably get by with it.
Yeah, back then.
It was a different